And it takes her wayward brother, who isn't an adult in any way, shape, or form, to kind of remind her that it's okay to not necessarily be the perfect grown up. I mean, she's quite a shit adult. So
It wasn't that bad. It
No.
was way worse. And certain sequences were difficult with the braces. They might have flown out of my mouth at some point.
Jesus! I think I should probably call the police.
Christ,
This was your idea.
I thought it would be cinematic.
So I'm Tyler Nichols with JoBlo.com, and thank you so much for talking with me today.
thank you.
First of all, Josh, I cannot wait to see what you do with Spaceballs 2. I am a massive fan, so.
If you're a massive fan, you're going to be very happy. I too am a massive fan, and I'm leaving for Australia this Friday, and I'm so excited to finally be starting production. It's going to be wild.
Oh, I'm so glad the
But
production's finally
not
starting.
as wild as Adulthood, my new film
Yes,
premiering.
yes, no, that's why I didn't even
Kaya.
plan on asking with anything. I just wanted to make sure to say something without it. But no, I really enjoyed Adulthood. It has a lot of fun twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. I also thought that the title of Adulthood was quite ironic given many of the events on screen. So Kaya, what does this title mean to you in the context of this story?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you picked up on that. I think there is definitely an irony in it, in that, Meg is very much taken the steps that one would think would lead to an adult life. She's done everything correctly. She's got the nice house. She's got the kids. She's got the hot husband. But I think you kind of slowly discover in her unraveling that that is all just a costume and that she hasn't quite figured it out yet. And it takes her wayward brother, who isn't an adult in any way, shape, or form, to kind of remind her that it's okay to not necessarily be the perfect grown up. I mean, she's quite a shit adult, so she did do very well at it.
Josh, what about you?
I mean, Noah embodies the term arrested development. He is truly a child who thinks he's an adult. He thinks that living alone, independent of his mother and sister, chasing his dream career in California means he's a grown-up. But I think what the film shows us is that he's never grown up, and he doesn't realize how much he needs that sort of maternal figure, and how much he needs guidance. And as much as he puts on this air of, responsibility and being independent, the truth is that I think he's terrified of being alone, and he's terrified of making choices because the result can always be, I think, the opposite of what he anticipated.
Well, and I've been a massive Alex Winter fan since forever. I think Freaked is one of the most underrated comedies ever made. And I wanted to ask you both what Alex is like as a director.
He's kind of everything you want him to be, and that you have these ideas of what he's going to be like, and that it will be this sort of crazy wild journey. But what's beautiful about him is that he's clearly very passionate. He clearly puts a lot of effort into bringing these projects to light. I mean, especially his documentary stuff. The time that he spends in those worlds and wanting to build something is because he really cares about it. And I think one of the most important things for me as an actor working with someone is that they care, that it isn't just a paycheck, or it isn't just, something they signed up to 5 years ago and they're committed to, is that they really want to bring this thing to life. And Alex was every day. I mean, I remember some of the crew telling me that he'd send emails at 2 a.m. He was constantly still trying to figure it out, still super engaged. I really messed my neck up on the first night when I got there, and he was taking me to the emergency room and checking on all the information. And he was very present with us, and very present on set.
Josh, you have anything to
I couldn't
add?
agree more. You have a certain expectation of who Alex Winter is based on his most iconic films, whether it's Bill and Ted's or Lost Boys, where he's forever this kind of stoner or badass dude in my mind. And the real Alex is the complete opposite. He's one of the most book smart and sophisticated people I've ever met. And he has such a clear vision, and he is so articulate about how to execute that vision that even though, as Kaya said, this production was done at such a breakneck pace that like oftentimes we were going literally from setup to setup to setup without any breaks. It was because he had prepared for the movie to the point that it was within an inch of its life. Like he was just ready to go, but that never meant that he didn't give us the freedom to play, the freedom to explore. And so like it was very liberating to just be on set and get to mess around with Kaya and like find the scene in the moment, because Alex had already done all the hard work, which gave us the opportunity to explore.
Shout out to his documentaries, because those are absolutely mind-blowing, and I was so excited to see him now get into like the fictional world again. Josh, given that most audiences know you from your more lighthearted roles, I was really excited to see you get to play something darker here. What intrigued you the most about getting to play Noah?
When I read the script, I was like, oh my God, this is one of the best Coen brother movies never made. Like it was just, it sort of does everything I love in a film like this. It's neo-noir, and the characters are, on the surface, seemingly, very clear, but actually very complex. And I love the complexity of this relationship and this journey that these two go on. And I always love a film that asks, what would you do in this situation? And this is one of those like incredible movies that really, I think, provides that question in a way that makes it eerily relatable. Like it is one of those things. It's like, what would you do to protect those that you love? And how far would you go, and at what cost? And one mistake can lead to a series of bad calls that can change your life. And the exploration of those themes for me felt incredibly rich. And also, just like to say this, but working with actors like Kaya and getting to explore those themes is the icing on the cake. Like that, for me, the cast that Alex assembled for this is just like an all-star cast. So it was really incredible to both tackle those themes, but do it opposite people who are the best at what they do.
Well, and Kaya, conversely, this isn't the first time that you've played a character that's put into an extreme situation. This is where I have to shout out your amazing performance in Crawl. But how did you approach making Megan feel different from those other characters?
Well, kind of speaking to what Josh said, I went into this really quite terrified. Like Crawl was scary for other reasons, but this petrified me in that I don't consider myself a comedy actor. It's something that I'm really insecure about and had never had the chance to really explore. But to get the opportunity to do that with Josh and to see if he could help me figure that out. And I had this kind of thing click in my brain one day where I was like, he will always be the funniest guy there. And that's beautiful. If I can just help float him, if I can just help be there in the off moments and on the off beat, then this is a really interesting dynamic. And it's not two people going up against each other. No one's trying to outdo anyone. It is this kind of very honest sibling thing of, we're two completely different pieces of the puzzle, but somehow it still works. And I wanted that dynamic. I wanted to work with someone one-on-one, basically. We have wonderful actors that come in, but they'd be there for a couple of days. Josh and I were stuck together for the entirety of the shoot. And I loved that dynamic. I loved having a scene partner and having, just having a partner throughout an entire project.
Well, that's all the time I have with you guys. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm Tyler Nichols with JoBlo.com, and thanks so much for talking with me today. I was excited to see that you were both in adulthood. I've really loved your guys' careers, and I really enjoyed the film. It has a lot of fun twists and turns despite how dark it is. And I also thought that the title of adulthood was quite ironic given given some of the events that happen on screen. So Billie, what does the title mean to you in the context of this story?
Well, it's definitely ironic. It's because these people are not adults, they are children. And I love that kind of irony. I love a good joke title, because you think you're going into the movie like, oh, we're going to watch a movie about some grown-ups. And it's like, oh no, it's these people who are an absolute disaster. And should not have been given the title of adults.
It's a coming of age story, you know. At its heart, it's a coming of age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But they never come of age.
right.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
Anthony, what about you? Do you have more than just a coming of age story?
I think, well, it's hard being an adult. It's very difficult. Is anyone really ever an adult? Is, I think, a question that the movie might put forward. Everyone is struggling. Everyone's having a hard time. Nothing is easy. And yeah, the idea, the illusion is that I think, you know, that like at some point you're going to reach adulthood and it is going to get easier because you are more mature, and it's just not the case.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, it's yeah, wow, I'm really kind of spitting some wisdom right now.
You really are.
But like, no, I think what's great about this movie is that that's ultimately where the comedy is. It's in that darkness, it's in that difficulty that all these characters are really trying to like just deal with the circumstances put before them, and like and just, you know, things go so awry. But as audience members, it's great. It's very cathartic too, because it's like, oh, people messing up worse than me. Wonderful. I mean,
Well, and I've been a massive Alex Winter fan since forever. I think Freaked is one of the most underrated movies ever made, on top of his incredible documentaries. So I wanted to ask you both what Alex is like as a director.
he's such a genius, and I think people wouldn't really necessarily kind of get that from, you know, from watching him in Bill and Ted. They would be like, oh yeah, that guy. He is literally one of the most erudite, intelligent, like off the charts genius people you will ever meet. And I think that extends in, you know, into the director's chair as well. Like he has this ability to really know exactly what he wants it to be, and juggling all of these different things with the characters and how he wants to look and his vision. But he's also so open, and can really kind of change on the fly depending on what it needs to be. So that's the kind of best director that you could possibly ask for. And yeah, he's the coolest. He's also just the coolest to be around. You know, he's a great guy.
Cool.
Well, and Anthony, every time Bodhi is on screen, he feels so unpredictable but also fun. What's your favorite part of getting to play a character like that?
You know, yeah, he is very unpredictable and chaotic. And I think that actually like a lot of these characters are very chaotic. And I think that that's what lends itself to a fun movie, is you never know what it's going to turn into at any point. But I really liked that kind of, you know, softer side of Bodhi. We're finding these parts where it's like he's not necessarily menacing, but there's, you know, you figure out where he's really coming from as a human being. That's always my favorite kind of thing to do as an actor. That
Well,
and
we're-
braces, yeah.
I was gonna say, were the braces hard to deal
Yeah.
with?
No, it wasn't that bad.
No.
It was way worse. And like,
Unfortunate.
you know, certain sequences were difficult with the braces. They might have flown out of my mouth at some point. I don't know. But yeah, but you know, but it wasn't that bad. It was
Yeah.
worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Not to stick with the braces, but what was the decision making behind that?
It was in the script. It was in the first version of the script, and then it was in the second version of the script, not in there anymore. And I had to fight. I was like, no, this character has to have braces. Yeah, I will walk.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen. Billy, it seems like Grace has had quite the tough past. We get a little bit of it in the film, but did you work out either on your own or with Alex, Grace's background?
Yeah, we did. She's been through a lot, and she's really, and these people have not. And Alex and I did a lot of backstory work and decided where she came from and what she'd been through, and these people had not. And I think that was Grace's whole arc, is like proving to these people, like basically like a big. Are we allowed to do that on these?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, it's a big like F you, you have no idea what I've been through. Let me show you just a little taste of it.
Do you think she's deserving of the audience's sympathy?
I don't know. You don't dive enough into her past to know, but even if the past is really bad, like, you really need to do that to these people. These people are already digging themselves their own grave, and like, what are we really trying to prove here? I mean, I love her. I support Grace. Support Grace.
I love Grace too. I mean,
I'm making sure.
I'm rooting for her. I'm rooting big time. I'm rooting
Yeah.
for him.
Well, and Anthony Bodie was just such a fascinating character, and I don't think it's revealed in the film, but I kept asking myself, what on earth does Bodie do for a living? So do you have an answer for that?
It depends on the day, probably. I think we did kind of talk about this backstory, and I don't really want to get into it because it's just so wonderful. But I think he's just one of those like kind of jack of all trades, master of literally none of those things. In fact, like maybe just has to keep switching it up because he'll just go to jail if he keeps up with any one of them for too long.
When Grace really acts as if she's been shafted a lot in life and seems really angry at Megan for not appreciating the work that she's done for her mom. Do you view Grace as a villain at all?
I definitely view her as a villain, but it's an earned villain. I think Megan definitely deserves everything that Grace is throwing her way because she doesn't take care of her mother, and Grace really has stepped up to the plate, and it's insane that her daughter isn't doing what Grace is doing. And I think it's a righteous villain. I think it makes sense that she's the villain. I would do the same because Megan is a nightmare. No offense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's one of the great things about the film is your idea of who the villains are kind of shifts as the story progresses. Yeah.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.